Hello, my name is Steve Cook. I am co-author of the book, bestseller on Amazon.com, Lifeonaire. I am also the founder of the website, Lifeonaire.com. I have a question for you. Why is it that we strive to be successful in business? Why is it that we strive to get the best education that we can? Why is it that we strive to climb the corporate ladder? Isn't it because that we desire to have freedom? Aren't we hoping that this striving is something that will give us the freedom to do what we want to do, to experience what we want to experience, come and go as we please, and not have somebody tell us what to do? Well, I'd like to share a little bit of my story with you. Since a young age, I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit. I started businesses, I failed in most of them, and I got involved in restaurants and I failed in those, and then I got involved with real estate investing. And that was a field that I had tremendous success in. And as I was getting more successful in real estate investing, I decided to do everything right. I went and I got all kinds of counsel from accountants, from estate planners, from other business people, from people within my church, and they were telling me exactly what it was that I needed to do to be successful. And I went and I followed the plan that everybody put into place for me perfectly. I went from $0 to $7 million in assets in just over 3 years. Now, most of you are probably thinking, man, he did a great job with that. And, everybody who was watching me and everybody who looked at me thought that I was extremely blessed. In fact, everybody wanted to do what I was doing. But there was something missing. And I didn't want to sit there and share that because everybody thought that I was doing great. And so I thought I was doing something wrong. That forced me to work harder. That forced me to do more. It forced me to do more deals, thinking that I was really close because everybody else thought that I was already there. And then finally, one day, it was just like it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I came to realize that the one thing that I really wanted was freedom. I didn't have freedom. What I had was a lot of money. I had a lot of net worth. I had a lot of assets. I had a business that was just turning all kinds of cash flow. But I did not have that life that I thought that success was going to provide for me. And so I want you to just take a moment to imagine this. I want you to imagine what that life of success really looks like to you. What does a life of prosperity look like to you? Start to think about what it would look like if you could be free to experience life as you desire to experience it. If you did not have somebody telling you where you had to be, when you had to be there, but you're free to come and to go and do the things that you want to do. You're free to serve if you want to serve. You're free to go on vacation when you want to go. You're free to spend time with those who you love. Imagine what that life looks like. Now, I want you to think about all of the people that you know personally. Think of every single person who you know. How many of them are living and experiencing that life you just came up with in your head? If you're the same as most of the people that I ask of this question, most of you can't think of a single person who's living and experiencing that life. And if you're fortunate enough to be able to think of 1, 2, or 3, it's still not many compared to all of the people that you know. So I have another question for you. Is there any shortage of success information out there? If you walk into a bookstore, there's tons of books that will teach you how to be successful. If you do internet searches trying to figure out how do I become more successful, you'll find tons of stuff that will teach you how to become successful. If all of that stuff worked, you have to admit that the list of people who you could think of that are living and experiencing that life that you were just imagining would be very long. You should not be struggling with coming up with names of people who are living and experiencing that successful life. The problem is this: there's something wrong. All of that information that you are being taught on how to live successfully is wrong. Here's the deal. Most Americans are pursuing what I refer to as a distorted dream. It's a distorted American dream. We have been sold a bad bill of goods. We have been told that if we accumulate wealth, if we accumulate possessions, if we accumulate material things, then life is going to be great. But most of us, if we're going to tell the truth, have to admit that that is not what we are experiencing. Don't get me wrong, money is great. Money is great in the right hands. It's great when we understand it. It's great when we put it into the right place in our lives. But for most of us, it's what we're giving our lives to. We are trading our life in return to achieve or accumulate wealth and finances and money, hoping that one day it will give life back to us. We can all live and experience an incredible and prosperous life, and the fact of the matter is this: it's really simple to do. There's 4 simple steps, and so many of us just don't understand these simple steps. If we just understood these steps toward living and experiencing a prosperous life, we would get there, and so you would be able to come up with a long list of names of people who are living and experiencing the kind of life that you would like to live. The first of those steps is what I refer to as the foundation. Now, this is your Lifeonaire vision. Without a vision that is going to guide your life, you're just going to aimlessly wander. You're going to do what the rest of the world around you is doing. The fact is this: most people spend more time planning a party or a weekend getaway than they do their lives. Most people skip this step of developing a Lifeonaire vision, and it is absolutely, positively the most important thing. Because without that Lifeonaire vision, you can't possibly put a plan in place together to get you the life that you're looking for. You see, the story for most of us is this: we graduate high school or we graduate college and we just go off and we start working. And we try to make as much as we can. We strive to climb the ladder as fast as we can so that someday in the future we can live and experience life. You know, most of us already were living and experiencing life until we made that decision to start pursuing life. We felt like we didn't have it yet, but most of us were free before we pursued what they refer to as life, this distorted American dream. Now, here is the problem with all of that. Without having that in place, you're just going to do what the rest of the world around you tells you to do. And when you do what they tell you to do, they're not looking out for your best interest. So having a Lifeonaire vision is the absolute most critical, important thing that you can possibly do. And it's never too late to get one. Now, stage 2 in the 4 steps to financial prosperity is also extremely important. This is when we make ends meet. This is the money that you work for. This is the money that you trade your life for. Now, I want to just talk to you a little bit about debt. We have been taught in this pursuit of the American dream that there's good debt and bad debt. I bought into that wholeheartedly. As I built my real estate empire and this successful business, along with my $7 million in assets came $4.5 million in debt. Now, just so you get an understanding of what that did to me in my life, let me explain to you what a mortgage really says. You see, if you want to go off and purchase a home and you don't have the money sitting in your accounts to be able to just write a check and buy that house with cash, the first thing you're going to do is go to a lender. You're going to have someone else who has the money put it up, and you're going to agree to pay them back over time. But this is the way that conversation goes. Basically, you say, Mr. Lender, I found a home that I would like to purchase. However, I can't afford to buy it. I was wondering if you could put up the money for me. And the lender says, you know what, we'll go ahead, we'll check you out, fill out all of this paperwork, and we'll get back to you and we'll let you know what we think. Well, you fill out all of the paperwork, and if everything looks good, they come back to you and they say, you know what, you look like you'll be a pretty good servant. We'll go ahead, we'll put that money up for you. And at the day of closing, when you go and you sign all of those documents, essentially what those documents say is this: if you are willing to serve the lender with 25 to 40% of your working hours for the next 30 years of your life, then they will allow you to peaceably enjoy that home. If at any point over the course of the next 30 years you fail to faithfully serve them, they can throw you out of that house and sell it to someone else. It's pretty sobering when you realize what those documents really say. And why do I say 25 to 40% of your working hours for the next 30 years of your life? Because that's what they expect of you. 25 to 40% of the income that you will earn every month for the next 30 years of your life is what they expect you to be putting toward the purchase of your home. And so the moment you sign that document, you just promised away that much of your time. Now add in credit cards, add in car payments, add in student loans, add in everything else that we would go and borrow money for. And before long, you come to realize that your life is not your own. You start to wonder what happened. And the future that you thought that you were going to achieve, and the great things that you thought you would one day have, and the freedom that you thought you'd have to be able to experience life is just slowly disappearing. Now, this affects us in many ways. It affects our relationships. It affects our ability to be able to enjoy time with our families. It affects the way that we sleep. It affects the way that we interact with others. It affects our generosity. It affects our ability to be able to give and to help others, which is something that deep down inside I think we all want to be able to do. And so we have been led down this wrong path. That if we do these things, if we get the good debt, we acquire these things, that one day life is going to be great. But what we do is we actually give our lives away in that pursuit. And so we at Lifeonaire are teaching something different. But let me get to the third step in the 4 stages to financial prosperity. We want to get to the point where we can begin to earn excess cash. If we create lifestyles for ourselves in stage 2 that are very complicated, we make it very difficult to get beyond that stage. We'll never get around to earning excess cash. And so one of the things that I do recommend is that we keep things simple. And that's what your Lifeonaire vision will help you to do. Keep things simple. Live a simple life. We can experience prosperity through simplicity. If your needs are very low and you're not off pursuing all of this good debt, it's easy to win in stage 2. And it's absolutely critical that you do, because if you don't win in stage 2, you can't get to those next stages. And stage 3 being that earning excess cash. When you begin to earn excess cash, you can do whatever you want to do with it. You can use it to go on vacation. You can use it to pay down debts. You can use it to buy nice things. You can do whatever you want to do with that excess cash once your needs are met. One of the things that we recommend doing is investing it into stage 4, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But a lot of people wonder, how do I earn excess cash? And there's many ways to do that. You can do that working overtime. You can do that by starting a business. For me, that was through real estate investing. My real estate investing business enabled me to earn excess cash. But that's not the only way that it has to happen. It happens to be my preferred way of doing it. Well, once I start to have excess cash, then I can begin to invest that into stage 4. And stage 4 is where we begin to build wealth by investing into income-producing assets. And I prefer that those assets be free and clear. Because the last thing in the world I want to do is invest into assets that are supposed to set me free, and then when they're not performing to the best of their abilities, they now become a burden on me where I now have to go and pay those debts. I want to avoid that. So my preference is to invest into income-producing, free and clear assets. And these are the assets that then now begin to replace the amount of time that I have to work in stage 2 to produce my needs. When I begin to build up that stage 4 income, every single time it goes up, it's less time that I have to work in stage 2. And so this is why it's so extremely important. It's a very simple plan, just 4 steps. Step number 1, having that foundation, developing your Lifeonaire vision, which will guide you and direct you. Stage 2 is meeting your needs. This is the money that you actually work for. And if you keep it simple, you don't have to work too hard to meet your needs. But when we complicate things and we pursue lifestyles that we can't afford yet, well, we make it very difficult, and we live week to week, month to month, and we never get around to that wealth building. We just dream about it. Stage 3 is when we can begin to earn excess cash. And then stage 4 is when we begin to take that excess and put it to work for us and invest into businesses, invest into other things that will generate income for us on a regular basis and replace that amount of time that we have to work. Now, these teachings that we share with people are changing lives all across the country. We have so many success stories with students whose relationships, their marriages have been restored because they now were focusing on something different than accumulating. We have had students where the couple or the family, they were doing very well. They had great jobs. And they were bringing in tons of money. But amidst that, the families were falling apart because they didn't get to spend time with one another. They were trading all of their time for the money that they were earning. We also have people who worked so hard. They were working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, working from 8 a.m. to 12 midnight, who today spend their lives traveling most of the time. They don't work more than a week or 2 out of the month of every month throughout the year, but they spend most of their time actually traveling. We have people who have paid off debts, tremendous amount of debt. I shared with you I had $4.5 million in debt when I started this journey. Today I have 0. I have no debt today. And as a result of that, we are able to live and experience life on a completely different plane than we were able to before. Before, I had a lot of stuff. It came with a lot of responsibility, and it came with this need to be able to keep on earning and producing at tremendous levels so that I could continue to service the lender and be able to just meet those obligations that I had with them. Today, I have a completely different life. My wife is able to stay at home with my children. We're able to serve, we're able to give, we're able to travel. I'm able to go on missions trips. And you can have that too. And I want to show you how you can experience that. And one of the things that we do is we put on what we call a Lifeonaire Getaway. This is a 3-day event where you can come and begin to put together the Lifeonaire vision that will guide you in your life. Most of you don't have a clue of what it is that you really want out of life. Some of you may take offense to that when I say that, but you're sitting here thinking, I know what I want. And I promise you that just about every single one of you, as you think of that, you're thinking about how much money you want. You're thinking about what you want your balance sheet to look like. You're thinking about how much you need before you can retire. You're thinking about how much passive income you want. Just about every single person who I ever coach, when they tell me that they know what they want, they're referring to something along the lines of finances that they think will set them free. Many people have achieved great wealth. Many people have created great incomes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll experience a great life. And what we do here at Lifeonaire is we help people to experience abundant lives, and we do that through our workshops. Through our workshops, we help you to develop your own Lifeonaire vision. We help you to dig deep down inside to discover what it is that is really most important to you and to help set you on a path to get you there. Over the course of those 3 days, again, I've shared with you earlier, some people will spend more time planning a weekend getaway or a party than they will their lives. And we're only asking for 3 days. Over the course of those 3 days, we will help you to put together that vision and the plan to help you live and experience that life, step by step to get you there. Now, I want you to just think about this for a moment. I asked you earlier to imagine what living a prosperous life would be like. And I asked you to think about all of the people that you know who are currently living and experiencing that life. Now I want you to focus on a different set of people. I want you to focus on those that you love. I want you to focus on those who are closest to you. 2 years from now, if I have the opportunity to stand in front of them and ask them the same questions, imagine the life that you want to live and experience, and now tell me all of the people who you know personally that are living and experiencing that life. I want them to be able to think of you. But that's only going to happen if you begin to take steps today. So I want to encourage you to look below and learn how you can come to one of our Lifeonaire Getaways. We have all the information for our events below. We even have sample videos of what takes place at these events so that you can get a taste of it today. But we are changing lives with these events. And I want to see you at one of the upcoming events. So don't wait another day. Every day that you wait is robbing even those who you love of the experience of getting to know somebody who is living and experiencing an abundant life. You've already had enough people in your life showing you how to live, and it hasn't produced the results that you're looking for. You need to take it into your own hands, begin to go down the right path, and set an example for everyone else around you that there can be something so much more and so much greater. But it starts with you going and looking below, clicking and signing up for one of our events, and giving us the opportunity to share with you what is changing the lives of so many others. I hope to see you one day at a future event.